Hi, we are going to present our portfolio, our learning evidence tree about portfolio tree, and it's our educational video. The team members are Brandon Olivares, Sofía Berlanga, Octavio Aguayo, Valeria Osornio, Jacqueline Villagrán, and me, Marcelo Sanchez. Okay, so this is our educational video. I will start first with the tiger. Its scientific name is Panthera tigris, and its habitat is in the rainforest, grasslands, savannas, and even mangrove swamps. They live in a climate over as cold as minus 40 degrees Celsius to the mangrove swamp of the Sundarbans, where the temperatures reach more than 40 degrees Celsius. Their biotic factors are praised because if they decrease, the tiger will die. Plants because they increase herbivores, and the population of the tiger will increase because they will have more food. Their abiotic factors are space because space can affect population because it can limit the resources and the numbers of shelters. And its position in the food chain is in the trophic level, and they are carnivores, and the tiger keeps the population of wild ungulates in check, thereby maintaining the balance between prey, herbivores, and the vegetation upon which they feed.
Next, we have the African penguin, whose scientific name is Defensicus dermesus. They live below the equator. Most of them live in cold places like the Antarctic, but some can be found in warmer weathers. In this case, they live near the southern coast of Africa, from Namibia to Port Elizabeth, because this is the African penguin. The climate, their inner temperature is kept around 38 Celsius, but they live in environments ranging from 32 to negative 60 degrees. The biotic factors, we consider penguins prey due to them having predators like seals, sea lions, sharks, etc. Though they do eat sardines and crustaceans. Additionally, their eggs are constantly hunted by predators like foxes and snakes. On the abiotic factors, there's space, coastal development, and overfishing. They are secondary consumers and they are carnivores because they eat the fish. And their importance in the food chain is that they are the main prey of leopard seals and orcas, and they fertilize the landscape with critical compounds found in their feces.
The Angolan giraffe. Their scientific name is Giraffe camelopardalis anguillensis. The habitat giraffes roam over large areas of bush and savanna areas, living often in semi-desert regions where they get most of their water from their food. The climate, giraffe seems to thrive in areas where the climate is very hot, and the temperature in the dry area can get over 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The biotic factors, the giraffe could excrete waste material that will contain substances and minerals that the plant can take in through the roots. The abiotic factors, the temperature of the place, like availability pollutants for egg affects the plants and also animals, and that affects the ecosystem. They are primary in the food chain, consumer type. They are herbivores, so that puts them at the bottom. The importance in the food chain, the organisms are a direct source of nutrition to the animals that prey on them. Further, thanks to their mutually beneficial relationship with the oxpecker birds, giraffes provide an indirect source of nutrition to them.
The hippopotamus. Its scientific name is Hippopotamus amphibius. Its habitat is in African rivers and lakes, where the climate is mainly tropical savanna climate. And the biotic factors they are very large herbivores, which means They are not prey or predators, and they consume plants on the environment. The abiotic factors would be the temperature and shortage of food, etc. Their position in the food chain is primary, although they don't have many natural predators. The consumer type, well, they're herbivores. They are found at the bottom of the trophic chain. The importance in the food chain is that hippos transport large quantities of silicon, an important substance for the ecosystem, from land to water, and they're important on Africa's aquatic ecosystem.
Next, we have the lion, which scientific name is Panthera leo. They can live in a variety of habitats, but they most likely prefer grassland, savanna, dense scrub, and open woodland. Its climate live in hot climate where they are distinct wet and dry seasons. The climate range can be from 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. The biotic factors are the prey because from the lion's feed, and if it decreases, they will die. In this case, zebras could be an example because they are the main source of food of the lions. The abiotic factors are the most important abiotic factor of lions. It will be water because it's essential for them to survive every day. Position in the food chain is trophic and the consumer type is carnivore. Importance in the food chains, the key role of the lion is helping to control the herbivore population because if their population is not regulated, the increase of competition will cause some to extinct and thus reduce biodiversity.
Chameleon. Scientific name Chamaeleonidae. Habitat. Chameleons live usually in forest environments, but some of them also live in thickets underground. Climate. They are mainly in climates that are around 28 degrees, but it oscillates from 24 to 32. Biotic factors. The chameleon affects its ecosystem by consuming parasites such as mosquitoes, fleas, and termites. Abiotic factors. Water and temperature, but also soil for when the females lay eggs. Position in the food chain. Chameleons are at the bottom of the food chain and near the outside of the food web. Consumer type heterotroph. Importance in the food chain. They help control the numbers of serious agricultural pests by consuming rodent and insect pests.
No matter where on Earth you go, living things are connected to each other. From the tiniest of organisms to the largest of creatures, all living things need energy to survive. So where does that energy come from? Well, matter and energy passes from one organism to another, connecting living things like links in a chain. A food chain. Of course, a food chain is not an actual chain. It's a way to talk about the relationships between organisms and show how matter and energy flow between living things. Every living thing on Earth is part of a food chain, including you, and most things are part of more than one. All of the energy in Earth's food chains comes from the sun. The sun's energy reaches the Earth as light and heat, and plants capture some of it and convert it into food through photosynthesis. Because plants make or produce their own food from the sun's energy, they are called producers. Every food chain must begin with a producer, for example, grass. That's because animals cannot create their own food. They must eat or consume energy from other sources. That's why animals are called consumers. The second link in a food chain is a consumer that eats plants, an herbivore. When an animal eats plants, some of the energy the plant captured from the sun is transferred into the animal's body, where it is used for things like moving, breathing, and growing. An herbivore is called a primary consumer. Primary means first, because an animal eating plants is the first consumer in the food chain. Let's add a rabbit to our food chain. Next comes a secondary consumer, the second consumer in the food chain. This consumer is a carnivore and gets their energy by eating other animals. Maybe our rabbit will get eaten by a fox. When the fox eats the rabbit, part of the energy that the rabbit got from the grass is transferred to the fox. This is the end of this simple food chain. The rabbit.
Thank you for watching.